Greetings and welcome to episode 180 of the Words About Gamescast, the weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy Alexander. I'm joined this week by Mr. Moody. Hey, Dab.
Hello, I am back. Thank you for having me back.
I loved you so much the last time that I was like, I have to get you on, like, as immediately as possible.
It's how glorious that can truly be.
I just want more glorious podcasts in my life.
Okay.
So I'm just going to make
them. More than that.
I'm just going to make them. Like, this, I totally didn't get let down at the last minute and that didn't happen. No, not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
And I've just
I didn't have a... I was going to say I was doing nothing, so it's all good for me.
I'm so glad you were doing nothing because I felt really bad, like, messaging you so... like close to the start of time, and then you just being like, "Yeah, I'll do it." I was like, "Oh, thank
God!" Somebody is useful.
Somebody just saved my butt. And I've literally just been tagged in a bunch of tweets on Twitter by someone who may or may not be sitting in this very podcast. Very quickly, Mr. Moody, why don't you tell everybody what you do and why people can find you?
I am Mr. Moody. I am the host and the creator of the Glorious Movie Show podcast. And Amy Alexander might have been on that. Oh, well, that's you, I believe you, Amy.
That's me.
We just talked and reviewed the latest Star Wars Rise of the Skywalker trailer. It's literally just dropped an hour ago, Amy. Dropped an hour ago. So you, me, Foxes, and Joseph dive deep into the Star Wars trailer. Joseph might have gushed a bit. Not fully sure.
Well, yeah. Maybe. A little bit.
I might have been a bit of insulting to the trailer. I might have yucked some people's yum, but who knows? I can't do anything wrong with that.
It's not a true podcast unless you piss someone off.
That is true. I think it's the aim of every podcaster, isn't it?
Yeah, right.
Just to piss somebody off at the end of it.
Like, these aren't my opinions. I'm just sitting here trying to figure out how I can just piss off as many people as possible with my allotted time.
But other than that, yeah, I'm on Twitter at Mr. Glorious One, and I've just seen. I shouted off from the rooftops, Amy, yesterday, loud and proud, the Terminator franchise is back.
Oh, good.
Dark Fate is so good.
Oh, good.
I was so happy, Amy. I was so happy.
Yeah,
my partner came out gushing, thinking, "Oh my god, that was so good." Thank you.
You seemed a bit nervous going into it when
I was.
We talked about it on your podcast, so I'm happy that it's good for you.
Yeah. It's not like The Godfather or The Citizen Kane, but yeah, it's returned to form. I had a lot of fun with it.
I look forward to hearing about your thoughts on it through the week at the Glorious Movie Show. Hell yeah. I probably won't be on that one.
I don't think there's anything Star Wars, is it?
No, it's Star Wars, Star Trek, Marvel, or I'm out.
Nothing else.
Because otherwise I just sit there silently like...
I don't think we've had Star Trek news for a while.
No. No.
Well, movie news for it
It's
anyway.
the Glorious Movie Show, so it's like, I get it. Star Trek will be back eventually. It's on TV now. It's fine.
We don't talk about Picard.
We don't talk about Picard for some reason. If you watch them all back to back, it's just a really long movie.
Oh, good God.
Really long movie.
7 seasons of longness.
Almost as long as Lord of the Rings. Here on the Words About Gamescast, we discuss 5 stories centered around what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture before we leave you with a list of the games that are coming out this week. This week, we discuss Blizzard's continuing self-inflicted did I spell that right? I didn't spell that right. Continuing self-inflicted problems over their Hong Kong controversy, Fallout 76's new premium subscription service, the NPD results for September.
I don't know how to say it.
I didn't know if you were going to say
one. Yay!
The UK Children's Commissioner's calls to regulate loot boxes, and
yay!
Ubisoft's latest earnings call, which was tinged with a lot of honesty. Dear God.
I'm not sure what to say
for
there.
honesty.
Yay for honesty. Yay for honesty. No doubt about that.
There are timestamps in the description below the video on YouTube, so you can watch any story in any order that you want, or you can skip around, watch the whole podcast backwards if that's what you wanted. If that's your jam.
Has someone actually done that before?
I don't know. Keith suggested it once when we were doing an intro, and I liked that suggestion so much. I just use it in every single intro now. If you've ever watched this podcast backwards, please let me know, because I would be fascinated to know what that experience is like.
Yeah. Especially if we start talking about something at the beginning and then we end up talking about it at the end still.
Yeah, there's always little callbacks and little in-jokes, and it's like watching it like Memento. It's like
that's true. Oh god.
Yeah. I know my movies. Sort of. Let's dig in. We've got the first story, which is split into 4 different stories, but not the 30 or so from the last podcast. Problems continue for Blizzard and Hong Kong controversy. And the first part, I've used a news source I've never used before in my entire 180 episodes of doing this podcast. Activision Blizzard under fire from bipartisan group of Congress members over China relations. This is from Gene Park over at the Washington Post. I feel like we've all grown up now, as a podcast.
Well, if they're getting involved, we know this is getting really serious.
I'm reading a story from the Washington Post. A bipartisan group of United States senators and Congress members is calling on Activision Blizzard to reconsider its decision to punish a Hong Kong Hearthstone player for his political speech during a live stream earlier this month. Quote, "Your company claims to stand by one's right to express individual thoughts and opinions, yet many of your own employees believe that Activision Blizzard's to punish Blitzchung runs counter to those values," the letter reads. It was signed by Senators Ron Wyden and Marco Rubio, along with Congress members Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Mike Gallagher, and Tom Malinowski. And then it goes on to say, because your company is such a pillar of the gaming industry, your disappointing decision could have a chilling effect on gamers who seek to use their platform to promote human rights and basic freedoms. So they pissed off some people in power.
Surprise! Jesus. It really isn't. It's just a surprise. Well, it's an endless cluster fudge from them all, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So we didn't have you on last time. I was going to say last week, but we didn't do a podcast last week because I was in London. We didn't have you on last time when we talked about Blizzard. So just give your sort of 90-second take on everything that's gone on with Blizzard since the Blitzchung thing.
Well, they just keep digging their own grave. Seriously, they by the time they've dug it, they're going to be in China. By the time they've dug it, that's how bad they are making this situation. They really are. Like what the article says, they are meant to stand for to express individual thoughts and everything like that and opinions, but because someone had a little political thing, they've decided to bad boy, we tell you off and everything. He's literally just been dragged into the head teacher, and he's just like, you bad.
Yeah, him.
Why are you bad? Yeah, and everything like that.
The two pastors who tried to hide under their desk.
Who did nothing wrong.
I know.
That's the thing about it. It's like, what do you want them to do? Literally jump on him? And they weren't even in the same room?
Stop him. I think that was the implication of Jail and Brack's statement, was their job was to stop him from saying anything, even though they didn't know he was going to say anything because it's a live interview. And when they realised what he was going to say, they just tried to hide, which is fair.
And he said it so fast, though. He says it really fast. It's straight in, and then it's boom.
All he said was "Free Hong Kong, revolution of our time." I mean, I'm not being funny, but if you were going to say a sentence like that fast, I wouldn't be able to stop you, because by the time I realised what you were saying, I would be like, "Oh, you've said it." And this is live. There's nothing I can do about.
If you knew it was coming, then I could kind of understand, but no one knew it was going to happen whatsoever. I didn't even know this thing was going on until it all blew up on the internet.
I know, right?
And everything. So, they keep digging their grave and keep on digging. They keep on digging, and I think even a couple of them have been a couple of grenades to make it even bigger
Yeah,
to fill their company in somehow.
like, yeah, I mean, it's self-inflicted, right?
Yeah,
It's been an own goal on their part because they probably, like, they did this before anything else. So, like, there was no, like, China didn't turn around and be like, hey, you need to sort this out, or we're going to ban your games. It was just like, they just went straight away and were just like, right, ban him, ban them, take all of his money, like, and we're going to stand with the oppressors and the people who violate the human rights, like, instantly, while they've got a statue outside in their courtyard that talks about how every voice matters and like how important like diversity and freedom is. And it's like, yep, oops.
yeah, they don't believe in that, sadly, China. So
They don't. And
they may have amazing culture with beautiful artistry and everything like that, but damn, they're a bit nutty.
damn, yeah.
They're a bit nutty. But it's just
yeah. And now and now it's like they've got politicians from like both sides in America to co-sign a letter. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've been like following American politics and like even casually. Like, every now and again stuff pops up in my Twitter feed, but those guys can't agree on anything. Like,
that is true. Like, that is true.
And you just got them to co-sign a letter together to be like, you suck.
You suck. You done fudged up. Bad. Bad gaming company. Bad you.
Indeed.
It is a bit nutty that they were able to come together, but at the same time, it's just a political thing. At the same time, they're just like, oh, we must show something because they've obviously had something political a couple of months ago about the gun violence and everything, and I think they're trying to show probably just a little bit. Well, we don't agree with Blizzard. See, we've been nice people. See,
yeah.
and everything like that, and it's only serving their purpose and everything like
definitely.
that. I wouldn't put it as a say I like you and everything like
congratulations. That. Like, I've only heard of two of the politicians on that letter. One of them is Marco Rubio. And the other one is AOC, who is like one of my heroes. But
this is the thing. This would get more mainstream media if Trump signed it. Let's just all admit that. We all know that. And we were like, wait, you were just bitching about this a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, and now you.
If Trump signed the letter, I think a lot of people would legit like have that moment of just being like, wait, is Blizzard right?
Yeah, we actually been questioning our moral stance here. China, take us. We'll come to you.
I'm on the same side as
if
Trump.
that happened.
Something's gone wrong here. But yeah, China's an easy target for American politicians as well. So it's easy for them to just sort of say, like, because China bad. Like, that's the thing with like American politicians. It's like, China bad. Like, so they can sign a letter that just says this kind of stuff quite easily, regardless of what party affiliation you have.
That's true.
Interesting to note, though. I think there are very few video game companies that could attract the ire of both Republicans and Democrats.
Funnily enough, it's an Activision company.
And funnily enough, Activision Blizzard managed it.
Well done. I don't know if that's congratulations or not.
Congratulations, you suck.
You fixed American politics. Congratulations.
Can you imagine? You fixed American politics by being terrible. Congratulations, Activision Blizzard.
We made you forget about Trump. Congratulations.
The second part of this story was the college Hearthstone team that held Free Hong Kong sign has been banned for 6 months. This is from Nicole Carpenter over at Polygon. Excuse me. Who writes, 3 Hearthstone players from American University in Washington, D.C. have received 6-month bans for holding a Free Hong Kong Boycott Blizz sign during their Hearthstone Collegiate Championship match on October 8th. Casey Chambers, a 19-year-old Hearthstone player, posted the notice to Twitter on October 16th. A Hearthstone admin wrote that every voice matters at Blizzard. It's one of the company's published values, but the official broadcast is off limits for these statements. Quote, Casey Chambers wrote on Twitter, happy to announce the AU Hearthstone team received a 6-month ban from competition. While delayed, I appreciate all players being treated equally and no one being above the rules. Whatever.
The thing is, I'm hearing from like other things online that it's not they haven't been banned because of the free Hong Kong part. They've been banned because they've said boycott Blizzard.
I'm sure that is 100% true.
And everything. So I'd like say it's.
I mean,
they just dug themselves in another grave and everything like that. I agree. Respect to the players who literally said, who did that, and then they said they stopped because they believe they should be getting banned.
Yeah.
Respect to them, for those lads and everything like that. But I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, they did it as a show of solidarity. And then what happened immediately after was, instead of being banned for a year, like Blitzchung initially was, like, they were off. Nothing happened. There was no penalty for them. They were offered another match because they were due to play another match in their tournament, even though they lost the one that they held up the sign on. And then they decided, so then the American University team were like, no, sorry, we're not going to play anymore. We're going to step back. And then Blizzard's come along and been like, no, you're banned. And it's like, yeah, okay. I mean, that's kind of like saying, you can't fire me, I quit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they'd already quit. It's like, the ban is meaningless.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah. I think Blizzard needed to do it. They had to, to stand by what their beliefs are with right now with their rules and everything. They needed to do that. There's no doubt about it. I don't disagree with that. But again, I also like I've already said, I take my hat off to the team who've literally just said, yo, we should be banned here. And you're not doing anything. Oh, we're going to play another match. Oh, okay. Well, screw you. We are not going to play that match because
that's we
should be banned. Right? You shouldn't be messing around. You banned this guy within hours of when he did this? When the main guy did it? Chang,
pretty sure it was within 24 hours.
Yeah. So, and this was like about a day or two.
This was a week
longer.
This was a
week. Oh bloody hell! This is even longer. So yeah,
I think it was in here. They had that's Mike.
Suspension comes a week after the match.
Yeah, because like the day after it happened was when the whole thing with like, oh, they're going to be able to play the next match, to which they obviously then refused.
Yeah,
kind of retired, I guess. They just said we're not going to play this game anymore. And yeah, I get that they obviously, like say, they had to do it. They had to put the ban out because otherwise it's like it's hypocrisy.
We've already dug our grave. How far can we dig it?
I'm pretty sure it was Casey Chambers who said like, "This is hypocrisy." Like,
they're not doing themselves any great. It's like they were doomed. They were going to be damned if they didn't, and damned if they did.
Yeah, so like from that initial moment. So like they were okay until they banned Blitzchung and took all of his money. And from that moment, there's nothing. I feel like we talked about it like on the last podcast. Like I feel like from that moment on, there was nothing they could have done to make this any better for themselves.
Yeah, they put their foot down, and they had to re-put their foot down again. It may have took them a week to do it, but this time. But yeah, it's a shame to hear all this with Blizzard and everything like that, man. Because like they're overall a hugely respected company and loved with some great games. Like they've got like Diablo. I love Diablo. Like Helvey, my partner, he played it on the consoles with number 3, and we absolutely adored it. Like I say, loads of people. Overwatch is one of the biggest esports games out there and everything, and they just keep digging their own down grave. It's a shame.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely spot on there. Like, I still don't know where I stand with playing like Blizzard games. Like, because obviously I played Overwatch. And when the new patch came out with the raw lock and the 222 and all the other stuff, like I was like, oh, I'm gonna dig back into this. Like when I come back to streaming, I'll start streaming it again. And then all this shit happened, and I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna delete this, like for now. And I was just kind of like, because the icon's right there on my Xbox, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna delete that.
Yeah, I don't begrudge anybody who believes they should boycott Blizzard and everything like that. I barely play the games anyway. Like I say, I only one I really played was Diablo, and I haven't played it for a while. So it doesn't really bother. It doesn't affect me really that much. But if I was to go back to play Diablo anytime soon, I wouldn't boycott it because, like I say, it's the bosses who are doing this for Blizzard. Sadly, it's the development teams haven't done anything wrong. Like they're battling against this, saying you're wrong and you know you're wrong and everything, but they can't do anything. So, like I say, yeah, I can understand anyone who doesn't want it, who does not want to support them, but I also don't begrudge anyone who does want to keep on supporting them because you're supporting the developers at the same time here. So.
Yeah. I mean, you do you, right? Like, I'm not going to be like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you're still playing Blizzard games? Like, how dare you? It's like, no, I'm not. I'm not that person. Like, I don't even know if I'm necessarily boycotting Blizzard. I mean, they're the headline of the podcast, two episodes running, and will probably be next week because BlizzCon is a thing, and that might be a shit show. But like, yeah, it's like I deleted it because I didn't feel like playing it, like with everything that was going on, and like if someone else looks at that and goes, yeah, I'm gonna play Overwatch, I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever, fair play.
Yeah. What I would say to anyone who listens to anything like that, just don't get onto anyone who does decide they want to boycott it or not.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. It's nothing they aren't being offensive to you or anything like that. Just their own morals feel like they need to do that. So don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I only run a couple of boycotts on this channel, and Blizzard release games so infrequently, like it's not come up yet. We'll see where we stand when another Blizzard game comes out. That's flipped. Part 3. Former Xbox exec Mike Ibarra announces move to Blizzard. This is from Matt Wales over at Eurogamer. He writes, Mike Ibarra, the former Xbox exec who announced his departure from Microsoft earlier this month after 20 years with the company, has revealed that he'll soon be joining Blizzard Entertainment as Executive Vice President and General Manager. Ibarra, who previously served as Corporate Vice President of Microsoft's gaming division across Xbox and PC, revealed his new role on Twitter earlier today, confirming that his tenure with Blizzard will begin on 4th of November. Ibarra joins Blizzard at a challenging time. The company has seen layoffs and high-profile departures over the last 12 months and is still reeling from the shockwaves of its hugely unpopular decision to censure Hearthstone Grandmaster Blitzchung after he showed support for the Hong Kong protests during an official live stream. And Blizzard remains stuck in the shadow of last year's disastrously ill-judged BlizzCon 2, when it was forced to weather another fan backlash after the reveal of its Diablo Immortal mobile game. The company will be hoping it can get its community back on side during next month's BlizzCon, with persistent rumours around the show suggesting it'll be a big one. Ibarra has already confirmed that he'll be in attendance and says of his new appointment, quote, "We will work with all our energy to serve gamers with incredible content and experiences. I can't wait to be a part of this team," end quote. I mean, when you take a new job anywhere, like, it's usually pretty tough to adjust. But my word, like, his timing of, like, going over and doing this thing taking this job at Blizzard, and do you think he was just sat, like, as this whole thing was unfolding over the course of, like, and just being like, oh no.
You gotta feel for him. You've seriously gotta feel for this guy because he's literally just left a 20-year job at Microsoft, what was probably pretty secure for him as well. And he's literally decided, I'm gonna go to Blizzard and hopefully do things in a good way and everything, excel in it somewhere. And he's literally just come in and he's literally walked in and there's a bomb just waiting for him at his desk, basically, with a giant stack of paper. It's basically the gif of Danny Glover who walks in with a pizza and the whole place is on fire, basically. That's literally what he is right now. I feel for this man so much. I don't know him or anything like that. For all I know, he could have been a big, complete pin in the backside at Microsoft. Who bloody knows? But he was there for 20 years. He can't have been that bad. But oh, good God. Like, when you go for a new job, starting a job, you're excited, but you're nervous and everything. This guy cannot be excited whatsoever. He's literally nervous. He's scared shitless, probably.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, God.
His first job, basically, is BlizzCon, right? Like, Like,
Oh God, I wouldn't. They're not going to allow. They're not going to take any questions at all.
no, they apparently they're doing the same thing they've done. Because so there was a thing that blew up on certain YouTube channels and on Twitter because like the thing for BlizzCon got released, like it's on the app and stuff, and you have to pre-register your questions, so and then they pick out which questions they're going to answer. It's like, yeah, I mean that's what they did last year as well. So it's like it's not such a big gotcha because that's kind of how they've been running BlizzCon, like because people were just asking ridiculous questions like a few years ago when they didn't have that. At the same time, like people like there was that one infamous dude from BlizzCon last year who stood up and did the whole, is this an out of season April Fool's joke? So like if someone wants to say something, they're gonna say something. They might get cut off, so they might have to say it really quickly.
Yeah, that's what. He's literally gonna have 2 bodyguards behind him, ready to jump on him if they do not answer the question they want to ask.
Yeah,
but they've submitted in and everything.
There's just 2 people like stood on either side of the microphone.
I can see something. I really can, because they won't want questions like that. They won't want questions about this Hong Kong thing. They won't want questions about who they've banned and haven't banned or whatever. They don't. They want to just want. They'll want questions about the games that they've got coming up or anything like that. So,
well,
that's all they want to do.
It's been for the last sort of few months that the rumors that we've been hearing a lot that this BlizzCon is going to be like the BlizzCon of dreams. Like it's going to be their like big conference. With like Overwatch 2 we've been hearing, we're going to talk about that in a minute, and Diablo 4 was probably going to be a thing, and like they've got like 6 things that they're teasing like there's going to be a thing at BlizzCon, and some of them will be expansions and whatnot. I think World of Warcraft's probably due an expansion, but like this was supposed to be their big like, yeah, let's get everybody like hyped about Blizzard again, and then there's going to be people protesting outside. They've got to worry about people getting up to the microphones and saying stuff and asking questions. Like, it's a bad situation for Blizzard. I really feel for the people who work there, like the developers and the non-management. Yeah. Because, like...
Especially you... Go on, sorry.
I was going to say, because like this is the moment, right? You've been working on Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2 for years, and it's like people are going to finally see it, and all anyone's thinking about is free Hong Kong. Like, damn, that's gotta suck.
It really is. And like, I'm an aspiring developer. Like, I'm studying right now to become a game developer and everything, to get into the industry somehow. And oh god, like I'm just literally think, okay, so don't apply for Blizzard, don't apply for Activision. EA was already on there, so don't worry about that, people. And everything. And I'm just like, oh god. Well, I've already spoken to people in the industry who I'm linked with on LinkedIn and everything. Like they're all like supporting the developers as best they can and everything, but they're also like they agree with the like they shouldn't have been banned and everything. So
yeah,
it's disappointing. It is. It's like
it's one of those things where it's like you've got to have that sort of. I don't know, we're not talking about Mikey anymore, but, whatever. You've got to have that sort of, like, it's like, there's Blizzard, the company, and then there's Blizzard, the people, like, the developers and people who work there, and it's like, they're 2 separate entities. Like, I'll criticize Blizzard to high hell for how they handled this entire situation, but at the same time, like, I'll be supportive of the developers who work there.
Mm-hmm.
Because
people who just want to create a good game.
Yeah, the people who are just trying to make games. The people who just have jobs. Like, at the end of the day, like, it's not, like, they can't just walk away from their jobs, right? Like, over this. Like, it would be awesome if we lived in a society where that was possible. Like, if you could just, like, leave a job because of your, like, morality or, like, your ethics. But at the end of the day, they need to get paid. Like, they have to support themselves and their families.
I won't deny, I bet a lot of them are looking to Bobby's leave.
They're probably looking for new jobs, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely no doubt about this. That you say, there's my mom's resignation. Hasta la vista, baby.
Like, I just got a job at such and such. Like, yeah, absolutely. California, that's where a lot of game devs are based, so hopefully everybody who's looking will find something, hopefully.
Yeah, there's a lot of big studios out there. Like, everyone is like, I see many times of like one of Microsoft studios who do Forza, they are hiring all the time. Like, all the time. I wonder if they're making something. An RPG, apparently. I don't know, though.
God, that's been on the... How long has that been on the rumour mill now?
I'll laugh if they come out and say, it's not Fable, but it's something new and better. People are going to kill him. People will kill him.
We're making a... It's like they come out and they're like, well, yeah, here's our brand new rhythm game. Just like, it's not even an op. It's like...
Sword and shield.
Yeah. We're making Xbox Party, which is just like Mario Party, but for Xbox.
Oh, yeah, man.
I'd play the shit out of that, but people would still be pissed because where's Fable? Why did you think we were making Fable for the last 2 years?
We had never actually said we were. We said we were making an RPG, not Fable. Not our fault that you guys jumped to conclusions.
Everybody just went, it's Fable, and then that was it. That was how it got started, solidified. There's also a part 4, which just came out like an hour ago. So thank you, Mr. Mooney, for pointing it out to me. Which is a report that Overwatch 2's new PvE features will be revealed at BlizzCon next week. This is from Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer, who writes, a BlizzCon 2019 demo guide obtained by ESPN intimates Blizzard may be planning to unveil Overwatch 2 at its upcoming event next week and reports PvE features will be playable for attendees at the show. To be fair, a successor to Blizzard's incredibly successful shooter isn't all that unexpected. The franchise has spawned a number of spin-off projects already, so a sequel certainly makes sense. But ESPN reports the upcoming BlizzCon show will see a number of revelations, including a new logo, maps, modes, and PvE features, and both the PvE story and a new game mode are expected to be available to play for BlizzCon attendees this weekend. Yeah, we don't need to read any more of that. Let's just get into the weeds. Like... I feel like this isn't a scoop because I feel like this has been the rumor for a while.
Yeah.
Like they cancelled. What was the rumor? They cancelled something. Some shooter that they were doing so that they can make a sequel to Overwatch. Which, yeah, I mean, I seem to remember that being a thing. Like, I feel like I've been going into this BlizzCon for the last couple of months, thinking Overwatch 2 is going to be there.
Yeah. It's not surprising, and I also believe they've probably revealed Diablo 4, which probably won't come out for like 6 years, but whatever. Still, yeah, they need to try and put some sort of good spin on this somehow. They got to show off games and everything like that.
I feel like at this point they're just trying to throw everything they can, right? Like, even if it's just a cinematic video to say that something exists, they're going to be like, right, put it on the stage.
This is a concept drawing of something I just doodled.
Someone's literally just picked up a thing and just drawn like a logo for like Warcraft 4, and it's just
something like that, yeah. Warcraft 10! Wait, what about the other ones? Oh, shit!
I mean, like we heard... ages ago, Jason Schreier did that story about Blizzard after the layoffs happened in January. About how sort of like Activision was exerting a bit more influence over Blizzard, and like this is for me, like seeing them sort of talking about an Overwatch 2 is kind of like me going, yeah, that I can see that, because I feel like the Blizzard of a few years ago would have just released all of this content as part of Overwatch. Like, PvE stuff, maybe paid DLC, you know, like extra characters, mods, and whatnot.
Like World of Warcraft, basically.
Yeah, like World of Warcraft. Like, because I don't think, like, it seems weird to release a sequel to a game like Overwatch. But then I think Activision release COD every year.
Yeah, I was just about to say that, I won't lie. I was thinking, this seems weird. At the same time, just like, why? Overwatch is still one of the most popular games out there. Yes, it's not up there like with Fortnite or anything like that, but it still smashes it at the esports.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the Overwatch League going, and Contenders, which is like the B League, and then there's going to be a World Cup at Blizzard, and they're paying their players like starting salaries for like $50,000 a year, and health benefits, and
I knew I should have started playing Overwatch.
Like, I wish
maybe I can do that with 2. I'll do that with 2 now.
With Overwatch 2.
I can become the new Overwatch guy in 2.
Yeah.
Yay.
It's like, I look at like a game like say Rainbow Six Siege, right, and it's like it would be weird. I think we can all collectively agree it would be weird if Ubisoft were like, "And here's Rainbow Six Siege 2." Like, is going to be a
Ooh,
thing.
yeah.
And it's like, but why though?
Well, they said they aren't, are they? They said they're supporting as this game for the next 10 years and everything. Everyone is just surmising with the Rainbow Six Siege with the new gen next year. They're just going to like probably just do a port version.
Yeah, like I
There you
could
go.
see them doing a sequel, like bringing the game onto like PS5 and Xbox Scarlet, but like maybe, but then like they don't necessarily have to, and that would be that level of weird for me, where it's just like they don't need to do a sequel because you just keep building on the base game. Like that's why World of Warcraft is so successful, because you never released World of Warcraft 2. Like you just kept continually building upon the game that everybody loved, and it's like, yeah,
Or you release the older version of it.
yeah, and then we just start all over again.
Call it the classic.
Classic.
I don't begrudge anyone who likes it, so well
Fair
done.
enough. Well,
The-
that was the version I played. Like,
I haven't played a single version of it. I
damn,
can't comment on that.
fair
so.
play. Fair play.
The only version I've seen of it is on South Park.
Damn. It's not. It's nothing like that. Damn. When World of Warcraft was popular enough to be on an episode of South Park, those were the days. Oh, I just read what's next. Okay, let's move on away from Blizzard. Because I feel like I'm going to be talking about them again next week. Number 2. Speaking of things I've been talking about never-endingly, Fallout 76 now has a $100 a year subscription service, Fallout First. This is from Joe Scrabbles over at IGN, who writes, Fallout 76 has revealed a new subscription service, Fallout First, which allows players to play it alone in private worlds, among other things. Launching last week and priced at $12.99 a month or $99 a year, I'm not going to go through all of those, Bethesda explains that a Fallout First membership gets you private worlds for yourself and up to 7 friends, a scrapbox with unlimited storage for crafting materials, a survival tent that acts as a placeable fast travel point, 1,650 atoms a month for the game's shop, an exclusive Ranger armor outfit, which is the outfit from Fallout New Vegas, and unique icons and emotes. Only the owner of a private world has to be a Fallout First member. The 7 other friends can be regular players, although the world will only stay active if at least one player is a first subscriber. Only existing characters can join a private world. Private worlds will have the same rule set as the public adventure mode, and it can't currently be changed. However, Bethesda promises that private worlds will get more features in the future, including the possibility of mod support. Now, do you want me to just keep going? Before we stop? Yeah. But wait, there's more. This was one day later. From an entirely different story, which is Bethesda pledges to fix early Fallout First bugs and complaints. This is from Kyle Orland over at Ars Technica, who writes, Bethesda's launch this week of a $99 a year Fallout First private world service inside Fallout 76 immediately drew controversy by charging for features that some feel should have been included in the base game. But the service's first few days have also been affected by a number of unexpected or unintended issues that Bethesda now says it's addressing. Users in the Fallout 76 subreddit have been chronicling a list of issues, big and small, that they've noticed with their Fallout First subscriptions. Go and read that list. It's hilarious. The most surprising, it seems, is that users can't seem to create a truly private world only available to invited guests. Instead, Fallout First worlds are currently visible and accessible by anyone on the subscribers' friends list. Other players say they've noticed problems with the Scrapbox, a Fallout First exclusive feature that allows for unlimited item storage. Some players report they're losing items after they're placed in the boxes, especially when trying to access them in worlds controlled by other players. After initially claiming that this problem was merely a display issue and that all Scrapbox items were safe, Bethesda now tells Polygon that, quote, we have since found that a small number of players have in fact experienced a loss of scrap items after placing them into the Scrapbox and then loading into a world. Resolving this issue is currently our top priority. We are also exploring ways to restore the missing items, end quote. The most serious accusation from Fallout First players, though, is that the newly created private worlds they're accessing are actually being reallocated from old server instances. Players report seeing dead NPCs, looted junk, and other abnormalities in their worlds from the jump, suggesting someone else had actually been using that virtual space before them. But Bethesda tells Polygon this is not what's actually happening. Quote, when a Fallout First member starts a private world, a dedicated world is launched on an Amazon Web Services server. As the company said, sightings of pre-looted containers on new servers are likely relics from recent lootings of that same container on another server, which have always persisted across new logins for a time. In terms
Good
of...
God.
I could have seen this coming from a mile away.
Good God. Bethesda, what the hell? Like... Okay, so I want to say one thing.
Go for it.
One little positive. Well,
Okay.
I see why they've done a subscription service. I do see it. Do I think the price and everything is nutty and what they are offering is lazy and nutty even more? Yes. But I do see why they do a subscription. I actually think it's actually not a bad idea. Like World of Warcraft do it, Final Fantasy 15 online, or 14 online do it, and everything like that, and it works. But they keep obviously updating it.
Yeah.
But those games work.
Those games work. Like...
These ones hasn't worked since bloody launch.
Yeah.
And I was thinking on the way when I was going to pick my partner, I was actually thinking, damn, this generation's been a great generation where I look some amazing games and everything, but my goodness, if you think of how the generation started and how it's ended with for some of the companies, oh my goodness, like EA started well with Dragon Age Inquisition. For me, one of my favorite games. I absolutely adored that game. And then they did Andromeda. And now they've done Anthem. Or BioWare, should I say.
BioWare, yeah, fair enough.
BioWare,
I was going to say
yes,
they've
my
got Star
apologies.
Wars.
Yeah, and well, if we want to go more for, if you want to spread into EA, yes, then you've got Star Wars. So, and then you've got Bethesda. Bethesda's bring out Fallout 4. Overall, well received by people and everything. Well, the biggest criticism was it's basically just Fallout 3, but whatever. And then they've done this, and it's just been going downhill ever since.
Yep.
And it's just
Country roads.
Bethesda and BioWare and EA in general have a huge task on themselves for next generation to try and get some goodwill back with the fans and everything. So,
100%. I saw the initial thing about Fallout First start appearing on my like Twitter timeline, and I was literally I was the guy from BlizzCon. I was like, is this an out of season April Fool's joke? Like, is someone joking me right now? Like, they're doing a subscription. Oh, what? Oh, wow. Are they making the game free to play? No, they're not making the game free to play. Like, or like free with a subscription. Like, no, they're not. Yeah. It's still like, well, I would say it's still a $60 game, but it's like a $5 at this point. Probably. Like,
still too expensive.
I've seen it for cheap. I bought that game for $59.99 when it came out on launch day. Because I'm a fucking mug.
Should have listened to. I'll say right now, we should have. Well, you should have listened to MC Fixer. He was saying, "I ain't touching that."
I'll be honest,
and he didn't.
I knew it was going to be a disaster. It was one of those things where I was like, I want to have a front row seat, like to this, like because this is going to be amazing. Not in a good way, but this is going to be amazing to witness. And you know what?
Yeah.
Fair play, it was amazing to witness. I don't know if you were in that stream, the launch day stream I did, where I was wandering around that building, and stuff slowly started going black and white. Like,
oh god,
it was really weird. God. Like, I'd noticed a cabinet and like some of the stuff, and I was like, wait, that's weird, that's black. And then I turned around and I was like, oh Jesus, like part of the world behind me. And then I turned back around and like more stuff had gone black and white.
Like, what is going on?
And eventually the whole thing just went grayscale. And then I remember we were sort of sitting there, and like none of us were game developers, but we were sitting there going, how the fuck can this even happen? Like, we were like genuinely trying to figure out, like, how is this a bug that's possible? Like, everything just lost its color. But yeah, $100 a year.
Oh, it's disgusting. The price. The
That's
price is
insane.
disgusting.
Like, for what you get, like, just get Game Pass. You can get Game Pass and play Fallout New Vegas and The Outer Worlds.
And I believe Fallout 4 is still on there, isn't it?
I don't think Fallout 4 is on there anymore.
No. Well, apparently Fallout New Vegas is the best one out there, so
Probably.
that's what I get.
Of the modern Fallouts, like, I would say Fallout New Vegas is... Fallout 3 is my favourite because it was my first Fallout game.
Yeah.
In the same way that Final Fantasy 7 is my favourite Final Fantasy game. But Final Fantasy 9 is probably better.
Yes, get in there, Evie.
I've always said that.
I love Final Fantasy 9, my favorite game of all time.
I've always said that. Like, 7 is my favorite because I played it at a specific time in my life and it all just clicked and I love it. Like, but yeah, 9 is probably the better game.
It's Vivi, man. Vivi steals the show.
Yeah, I was going somewhere with that point before I got distracted. I distracted myself with Final Fantasy talk. I distract myself constantly by talking about Final Fantasy in every aspect of my life. Like, yeah, it's like Game Pass is cheaper than this. Like, it's cheaper. Like, if this had been like an EA Access thing, like, I spend $3.99 a month on EA Access, right? The last time I used EA Access was before Anthem came out and I did the 10-hour trial. But I pay for it every month because it's $3.99. Like, I don't give a shit about Like, I'm in a position, like, thankfully, where I can not give a shit about $3.99, so I can just always have it there in case I ever need to use it. If like Fallout 76 or Fallout First was like $3.99 a month, it would be like, yeah, all right, fair enough. Not $12.99 a month. Like, I know what it's not.
I can understand the price if the game worked, had a lot of content in there, and everything. I could understand it that they would be ballsy enough to come out and say if it was all that, if it was like the size of World of Warcraft and everything with all of that content, but it is not, and it's broken at the same time still.
Like, I feel like we did a show a couple of months ago about a patch of Fallout 76. Like, we did a whole topic on it, like literally just reading the bug list from a Reddit thread. For no other reason than it was incredibly funny. And like, I didn't get through the whole thing without breaking, and Keith had to take over. I think we got to instant death zones, and then the description of what that was, where it was like, sometimes you could just walk around a corner and die. Like, you just walk across a field and just die. And I lost it at that point. But yeah, it's just like, games doesn't work, man. Like, you can't be charging $12.99 or $11.99 for Fallout 76 plus the price of entry.
Especially as the thing is broken at the same time.
And
with
then
the
break
bugs
it.
for yeah. That's the thing about it. It's like, we've got a good idea. We're going to do a subscription service. People won't be annoyed by that at all.
Nope.
Good. Do we need to have it working? Nah, be all right, man. They won't realize, man. Don't worry about this. Gamers don't realize anything these days. Yeah, right.
Yeah. No one ever like talks about this. Like, the big update that they announced at E3 with the NPCs and the quest line and stuff, that got delayed the week before they announced this. So I don't know. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall. It's like, okay, we need to delay this big Wastelanders update. Okay, but we're still going to go ahead with the subscription service, right? Oh yeah, absolutely. We're still going to go ahead with the subscription service. Like, what the fuck? There wasn't one person in that room who went, maybe we should hold off. Like,
they'll just throw out Todd Howard and say, yo, Todd Howard, you sexy devil, you get your smile out there and make everyone think, no, good things here.
oh, man,
Shiny over here. Ignore this burning barn on the left here. Shiny thing over here.
Like, I'm not being out. Like, when I saw Todd Howard come out at E3 this year, and he didn't immediately start apologizing for Fallout 76, I metaphorically wanted to hit him with a baseball bat in the face.
They were never gonna. I know they said that. Like, they joked to say, and you've told us a lot about what's wrong with this game and everything and all like that. So again, overextensive.
Oh, it's going in this direction, is it? They
were never gonna. Yeah. He's a amazing developer, but he's also become the fall guy who just like to throw him out there.
Throw him out there to be a smarmy bastard, and it works. It works when you're the Bethesda that's like announcing Fallout 4.
Mm-hmm.
And like isn't on top, but it doesn't work so much when you've just released Fallout 76.
I'll be intrigued to see if they're at E3 this next year. I was surprised they went last year. This year, should I say? I should be saying, yeah. I was
I've been
surprised
surprised
they
they've
were there
been
this year.
going for a while. Like when they did the first one, it was because Fallout 4 was coming out, and then like every year since then, it's like, why are you guys here? Like,
Same time, they don't need to be there. They can literally just go on one of the other conferences, Microsoft or
yeah, because they've
or
usually only
Sony.
got one big game, and then like everything else is just it feels like it's just updates, right? It's like this is coming to Elder Scrolls Legends, and this is coming to Elder Scrolls Online, and this is coming. It's like I don't even know this. Like, yeah, Doom looks cool, but Doom could have been anywhere. But if you want to do your own thing, like if they do their own conference, though, they can have that one dude who was there this year, just like going wow every time someone said anything.
I think it was a few of them, wasn't it?
It's 2 years running because there was a lady in the audience the year before who did the same thing.
What is it? I love you, wasn't it?
Yeah, she was just like, she was screaming like every time Todd Howard said something. It was.
Well, he's a handsome man. There's not denying it. He's a handsome man. I'd probably scream if I was there as well.
I'd scream.
Well, I'll be saying something different than screaming now. I'd be screaming something, but it wouldn't be something nice.
I'd sure as shit be screaming at him. Maybe just literally in his face. Let's move on. Part 3. NPD September 2019 breakdown. This isn't a news story. We do this every month here. We're a little bit late because obviously we missed a week last week. That was when they decided to do this. So let's talk about the top 10 best-selling games of September in North America. And this is like the most changed one of the entire year. At number 1, we have NBA 2K20. At number 2, we have Borderlands 3. At number 3, we have FIFA 20. At number 4 is Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. Number 5 is Madden NFL 20. Number 6 is Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Number 7 is Gears 5. Number 8 is Code Vein. Woo. Number 9 is NHL 20. And number 10 is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Well, I guess Deluxe, but Mario Kart 8. Also, I've noted in the top 20, Plants vs. Zombies Battle for Neighborville was at number 17. Because that was a new release. And everything else underneath was just like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, Super Smash Bros. But any thoughts on that list of...
It's a lot of sports titles.
That's a lot of... It's sports title season.
I always keep forgetting how popular the NBA games are.
Right.
But the thing is about it, I forget about how popular they are because every single year there's a controversy with them, with the game and everything. And I'm just like, how the hell does this game sell?
I know, right?
They either send it out broken or they send it out broken with bad game mechanics and also loot box mechanics and everything like that.
Last year was the money monetization stuff.
Yeah, and it is absolutely crazy, and it's like put out it works like say that like mostly like these days like so when it comes to the sports games and everything like that, they're mostly like the casual game. It's just like the Call of Duties 100%. And everything, and it works for them. It works for them. It's like. And congratulations, like developers work their asses off at least to get these games out annually and everything. I'm pretty sure that they wish they had another year, if not even 2, to make the games even better.
Like a full development cycle.
If FIFA took 2 years off, that I would go back and say, "What have you done here? I want to check this out."
Fair
I'm not. I watch football. I don't play it or anything like that, but it would be the same like for Madden and like NBA. If they took like a year or 2 off, I would literally like, wow. Like Assassin's Creed took a year off, and like when they came back, everyone was like, "Oh my god,
oh, this is really good.
This is really good."
And then Odyssey was like, "Oh my god, this is even better." Like,
it's like, how have you done this?
Heavy breathing.
And everyone's excited to see what they do for next year.
Yeah,
please be Vikings. I want to be Thor. I want to be Thor.
We'll get into that later.
Want to be Thor. Yeah, definitely. Big shout out to Gears 5.
Gears 5
there and everything like that.
Big shout out to Code Vein. I feel like a number 8. What the fuck? And like that just I was not expecting to see that in the top 10 like at all. So
yeah, and like even though it came out broken. Well done, Breakpoint, I guess.
Breakpoint. We'll talk about that later. It hurts. My first thought when I looked at this was the number 1 and number 2 games, NBA 2K20 and Borderlands 3, both had boycott hashtags going around on Twitter before they came out, so it's good to see that those boycotts worked really well.
Especially when it's sold really well on Epic.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way towards people at all, but damn, and I'm like, if you're gonna do it, at least do it.
Yeah. If I've got to throw the salt. Sorry, it's just how this podcast rolls.
No.
Gears 5 being in number 7 is cool too, because obviously you always have that thing in the back of your head where it's like, but this game's on Game Pass, it won't possibly sell well, and then like every single time, like I think that, and then I'm proven wrong almost immediately because it always sells well.
Yeah, I really need to get my finger out my backside and finish that game.
Oh, it's good. I finished it. It's really good.
Everyone says it's good. Yeah, everyone says it's good.
It's probably my favorite one, like so far. Caveat though, I never played the third one. I only played half of the second one. Just putting that out there.
I played about 10 minutes of the first one, never touched 2 or 3. Tried 4, did not like 4, didn't even complete 4. And I thought, well, there's something coming out, let's play it.
But it's on Game Pass, so it's not that.
Well, they continued with the character who I actually liked from number 4, thinking, I like her, she's badass, she's got attitude, she kicks ass, and everything. And then they make her the person.
Yep.
I liked it.
She's awesome. And the last act of the game, like the last bit, oh, it's so good.
Everyone says that. I really need to get my finger out.
You should. We do a game every month where we try to predict which new release will be the number 1 best-selling game. Like, we don't try and predict what the number 1 best-selling game will be. We always try to predict which new release will be like the highest. And last month, Keith picked FIFA 20. I picked Borderlands 3. Neither of us picked NBA 2K20.
Because every time, like it's just like what I said. It's like every time it comes out, it's just nothing but with controversy.
I forgot that it was
sells.
coming out. I am pretty sure I didn't add it to the list of potential candidates. But
I'll be intrigued to see if WWE gets on in the October one.
Oh, have you seen those videos? I love those videos so much.
Played it.
You played it? Is it as bad as it looks? What was that? Sorry, I just lost you completely.
Played it for 2 hours.
Yeah,
it's an abomination.
I've seen the videos on Twitter. I'm just like, this is incredible, in a terrible way. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. It's. I played 2 hours. I was just like, oh my goodness. Like, because like you and me do the same thing. We rent from Boomerang Games.
Yeah.
I got it, put it, installed it, played 2 hours. Took it out, installed it, and went back
put
to
it
the
back in the
letterbox
case.
and threw it in. Take it back.
Like,
thank God for rent. And if I bought that, I would have cried.
Oh man, like I think that sometimes where I'm just like, if I'd have paid full price for this game, like I would have been hollowed. Just Dark Souls reference.
Yeah.
Damn.
I might have actually got drunk that night if I actually bought that, and I haven't been drunken for 15 years.
Man, I just really needed this.
Just pop the bottle down.
Just on your podcast, like just fuck everything.
Something like that. Yeah.
The top 10 best-selling games of 2019 year to date, it's finally starting to shift around a bit as we get in towards the end of the year. Number 1, NBA 2K20. Number 2, Mortal Kombat 11. Number 3, Borderlands 3. Number 4, Madden NFL 20. Number 5, Kingdom Hearts 3. Number 6, Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Number 7, Anthem. Just got a message which just popped up in front of my screen. Hold on. Number 8, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Number 9, Resident Evil 2 2019. And number 10, Grand Theft Auto 5. Moody, we're finally, next month is finally going to be the month where Grand Theft Auto finally drops out of the top 10. Yeah, it did.
I don't believe that.
I've waited for this moment. I don't believe that
one bit. That's going to go back up. You know it is.
10 long months.
That's going back up before you know that. It's not going to leave.
It's got to leave. It's time.
It ain't going to leave.
It's time.
Whatsoever. It's fascinating to think that in the month 1, FIFA was 3rd, but in the best-selling one so far, it's not even in the top 10. That's very surprising.
Yeah, so basically, like, Borderlands and NBA 2K20 sold spectacularly well because NBA 2K20 is, like, immediately, like, the number one best-selling game of the year. So that sold incredibly well. Borderlands 3 just jumped straight up to number 3, like... But then, like, you have that drop-off where it's, like, the third and fourth... Like, the third best-selling game was FIFA. Didn't even breach the top 10.
But Madden did, and FIFA was higher than it. That's bonkers, it really is.
Madden charted the month before. So I think there was some weird EA... Like, you know what EA is like with release dates? Like, I think there was some weird early pre-sale thing.
1 and 5 months earlier, even though it won't release 5 months later?
Yeah, sure.
Why the hell not?
Yeah, because it was the number one best-selling game of August. I remember. So
Respect to Kingdom Hearts 3, still there. Damn,
Kingdom Hearts 3's hanging in, yeah.
Yeah. Respect to Resi 2, still my game of the year so far, I would say. But like, there's a few games coming out next month, so we've got a couple.
I'm not allowed to say what my game of the year so far is because I've got content in December. Like, I don't want to spoil, so...
That's fair.
Anthem, the power of marketing, keeps that in the best-selling games yet to date. Do you think that's still going to be in the top 10 by the end of the year?
I think there's a chance, yeah. I think it might be number 10.
Might be number 10. Because, like, you think, like, what comes out... COD's obviously going to come in.
Yeah, COD will slide right in there. I think...
Star Wars...
Star Wars has a chance. It has a chance.
I think the IP sells that as much as the game, like itself. Pokemon,
and then you've got Pokemon. Oh, Pokemon's gonna shoot right up.
Yeah,
Pokemon's gonna shoot right up. People might be saying boycott it because you don't have the full Pokedex, whatever. It's number one selling game ever.
Again, NBA 2K20 best selling game of the year so far. That had a boycott movement. I don't really trust boycott movements. But you're right. Yeah. There's those 3, and then I'm like, what else could possibly sneak in at the top 10 year to date?
Well, this is guaranteed. Grand Theft Auto 5 will go back up to 5 or something.
If Grand Theft Auto went back above Anthem, then it would knock Anthem out of the list.
But it would also knock out Resi 2.
Resi 2 is not going to survive the full year, which is a shame because it is an amazing game. But
It is true. But I know you've got other notes at the below there and everything, and one of them is what you say is Control didn't char again. Holy shit.
We were hopeful because like it came out like with only like a couple of days of the month left in August. So we were kind of like Control wasn't in the top 20. We were like, oh, maybe it'll turn up in the September top 20 like somewhere, and it didn't, and it's like, oh, but it's such a good game. Why has no one bought this game?
I think because their last game was very mixed for a lot of people. Quantum Break was not for me, was a pile of garbage for me personally. I just did not enjoy it whatsoever. And Control, I was very, very unsure to get it, but I thought, why not? And I absolutely enjoyed the game. I loved it overall. At the beginning, like before I completed it, I was saying to myself, damn, I was like 4 or 5 hours. I was thinking, this is like top 10 right now for me. This is so good. The powers, the game mechanics work really well. But just like you and me talked about on Twitter, the glitches were really, really knocked it down for me. But I thought that the twist ending, I really enjoyed the twist ending. I was thinking, because I was literally smashing on the game, I was thinking, wait, is that it for the ending?
Yeah.
I was literally just about to turn it off.
You almost got caught. Nice.
Yeah. They've really put a lot of work into this. They've really done a lot of good things with it. But I think I can see this Remedy in it.
Remedy.
I can see Sony or Microsoft buying them now.
No, I don't know if Microsoft will. I feel like Microsoft probably had the opportunity, given that they were like second party.
So I can definitely see possibly Sony.
I feel like it'll be like.
Go on.
I feel like it'll be like Alan Wake. I think it'll be a slow burn, but I think people will keep picking it up based on like word of mouth about how good the game is.
Well, it can't be that good because I haven't even played that yet. So.
No, I mean, how dare you? Don't disparage Alan Wake on this podcast. There's going to be an Alan Wake expansion for Control. But also, like, you just need to show someone the ashtray maze, and they'll be like, okay, yep.
I can see an exclusive deal.
Yeah.
Maybe not getting bought, but getting to doing an exclusive deal, probably with Sony, just because they have the market share of the gaming industry right now, and like I said, the odds are still probably high that Sony will probably be the dominant force compared to Xbox next year.
The odds are good. The odds are good on that. I mean, although we say that now, but like at the beginning of every generation, whoever's in the lead generally shits the bed and then sets it on fire. So it's happened the last two times. Xbox Xbox One reveal, TV, and then the generation before PS3, it's gonna be $600. So there's precedent.
I've been talking to people, my college, who my teachers and my colleagues in my class and everything at school, and I honestly believe that one of them is going to be $100 cheaper than the other. And I honestly believe that's going to be Sony.
Yeah.
I think Sony are going to literally say it worked for us last time. Be $400.
I mean, I hope they remember. Because I don't want.
I think Microsoft are okay. They can literally do it. They can literally go $4.99 if they want to, and they're going to be fine.
Yeah, no one cares because I can still play whatever on this Xbox.
Yeah. So, like I say, for me, Sony, I think they're going to come out smashing next year. They're going to be talking about so much.
I hope you're right. Purely because I want to go into a console generation with nobody fucking up, like Microsoft did, and then Sony did before them.
Yeah, that's fair.
It'd be nice.
That's understandable.
Yeah, just because it would be nice. Yeah, NBA 2K20 highest launch month sales of any sports title in history. I mean, that makes sense. The NBA 2K series surpasses Guitar Hero to become the 6th best-selling video game franchise in history, based on full game dollar sales.
Damn. That's damn, man.
I didn't realize Guitar Hero, but then obviously they did, because there was about 65 different games. Borderlands 3 sets new franchise launch month sales record.
The boycott worked.
Nintendo Switch hardware drove the highest unit sales for a September month since the PlayStation 4 in September 2014.
It was going to get beat eventually.
So Switch is just smashing it.
Yeah. I just bought one.
You just bought one.
Yay!
Everybody's buying a Switch now.
It's so light and comfy. It fits in my big chubby hands.
You got the proper one. I say the proper one. You got the base model.
Yeah, I got the base model with the dock and everything. I got the red and blue dongles.
Nice.
I didn't get the grey ones. I was like, nah.
Grey's boring. No one wants to get grey. Look at those controllers behind me. Just look at them.
Yeah. I saw a picture of you do Xbox controller. It looks pretty sexy.
I was so happy when it turned up. It turned up the day before I went to EGX, so I was like, yes, I don't have to worry about like missing the delivery and then having to get it when I get home. Okay, let's move on. Number 4. Fun story alert. Children's Commissioner calls on UK government to regulate loot boxes under the Gambling Act. This is from Imogen Beckhelling over at Eurogamer, who writes, the Children's Commissioner for England has called for tighter laws around gambling and gaming to protect children worried about how much time and money they're spending in online games, and has called on the government to regulate loot boxes as gambling. A report published titled Gaming the System, great name, researched the effects of gaming on young people. It found that while there are a number of positives with online gaming, particularly highlighting the social aspect, there are some serious concerns around peer pressure, time, and money spent gaming online. The children interviewed in the study, aged between 10 and 16, recognized some of the issues with their gaming habits, including a 16-year-old FIFA player who specifically said loot boxes were like gambling. Quote, you could lose your money and not get anyone good, or get someone really good. End quote. One 10-year-old Fortnite player was worried others would think she's trash for using a default skin. A marketing tactic condemned by Children's Commissioner Anne Longfield, who highlighted how kids are open to exploitation by games companies who play on their need to keep up with the games with their friends and to advance to further stages of a game. With 93% of children in the UK playing video games, it is vital that the enjoyment they get comes from tighter rules that protect them from straying into gambling, she said. Children have told us they worry they are gambling when they buy loot boxes, and it's clear some children are spending hundreds of pounds chasing their losses. I want the government to classify loot boxes in games like FIFA as a form of gambling. A maximum daily spend limit for children would also be reassuring for parents and children themselves. Other recommendations from the Children's Commissioner following the report include suggesting all games should include a feature to allow players to track their spending. It's also been proposed that online games should be subject to a legally enforceable age rating system just as physical games are, and have additional warnings showing these games contain in-game spending. On top of all this, the Commissioner recommends online gaming becoming a focus of digital citizenship lessons in schools. Teachers involved in the delivery of these lessons should be familiar with how key online games that are popular with children work. Essentially, the recommendations seem to highlight the importance of kids, parents, and even larger companies understanding how large the role of online gaming can be in young people's lives, and how, despite this, things like loot boxes are still largely unchecked in the UK. That's a lot of reading. That was a long story. Do you have any thoughts on this, Mr. Moody?
It needs to happen.
Yeah.
It has to. It has to happen. And for me, I've been saying for a while, I think FIFA needs to be the age grade 18. It has to. Especially if this comes into check and everything like that. They'll fight it. Obviously, they'll try and fight it. They'll probably say it's another Kinder surprise and everything like that. But it's they talked about this like with the whole like Kinder surprise thing and everything like that, and I was thinking, are they going to do something? And they didn't do anything. And now they're getting told by the Children's Commissioner, are they going to do anything? I honestly don't know. It needs to, but will it?
They need to do something, because they don't want the government getting in and getting into their shit, right? It's what I've said since Shadow of the second one.
Shadow War, is it?
Yeah, I always get them mixed up. Whichever one it was, the one with all the loot boxes in it, the
crap one,
the bad one. They don't want the government to step in and regulate this crap. They don't. But if they keep pushing it, it's going to be really easy for people for governments to step to actually be able to mobilize and ratify stuff around this, because kids play games. And there's still that large perception of, hey, the biggest games in the world are Fortnite and League of Legends and FIFA and things that kids play visibly. So there's won't someone think of the children defense? It absolutely comes into play. The people surveyed in this report were the kids themselves, not parents or gamers or games companies. It was the kids, and the kids themselves are recognizing that some of these systems are troublesome. A 10-year-old getting bullied over Fortnite skins.
Yeah.
We've read that story. It was the story a while ago that came out on Polygon. We read it on the podcast. It was horrible to actually read, where it's default has become an insult in the Fortnite community. You're wearing default skins. It's crazy. Crazy. I was at...
I was down my local game just today, and they are obviously expanding a little bit to have PC areas where people can go in and play them. That part was literally chock full of kids, and they were screaming like crazy. And I was like, "Can you shut that door, please?" And, and it was terrible. And some of the language I heard, I was thinking, where the hell are their parents? I was thinking, but this is the thing about it. I had a person in front of me with their kid that she said, "How about you go in there and I'll go around here and shop a bit and I'll come back." I was thinking, so literally the parents are literally dropping their kids off. It's like daycare for them. Yeah. They're dropping their kids off to do this. And they're not regulating them to stop and say, "No, you shouldn't be speaking to this person like that. You shouldn't be bullying this person. Come on," and everything like that. It's just vile when that happens and everything. I hate bullying. It's disgusting. One of the worst things in the world for me personally. I'll
100%.
slap it. I'll slap anyone who bullies.
Yeah, bullying is a terrible thing, but it's like this is like it's frustrating that there's like, and it's probably not, it's not on the like Epic Games didn't make this game to like be used in this way, like their battle pass and skin system, but at the same time it's like that's how part of how it's being used, because that's how kids deal with it. Kids are shit, like like in how they treat each other, like all kids are. We were when we were kids, but like the yeah, it's
I was
like
a shining light, Amy, when I was a kid.
sorry, all everyone except this, who is a glorious child, obviously. I was terrible, but
At least you're honest.
I was awful. But yeah, it's like the skins and the default thing. It's like that kids are going to use anything they can to be shit to each other, and like it prompts the kids who have the default skins and are being bullied for having the default skins in this game. It's like to spend money. Kids don't have money, so they have to spend their parents' money. Like it's just crap. Like just that one part of it's crap. Then you get into the loot boxes where you buy blind boxes to get Ronaldo in FIFA, and like you could spend an unlimited amount of money trying to get one thing in FIFA and never get it.
It needs to get relegated. It needs to get sorted out. There's no doubt about this. But right now, sadly, our idiot politicians are talking about something else.
Yeah, it's going to be a while before we do anything.
Yeah. So until that gets sorted itself, this is going to continue to get overlooked for a while. It's disappointing. It shouldn't, but it's going to.
Unfortunately, it will. But it's nice that it's becoming like an issue that the government, or not the government, but like the regulatory bodies are actually trying to point out and be like, hey, look, we need to do something about this.
Yeah. The thing is that the good thing is that they are talking about it, and it will get sorted. I know a lot of people may feel like they've talked about, like, a lot of sites, a lot of YouTube channels have got famous because they talk about this all the time and everything, and like it's going to get sorted. It just feels like it's taken forever, because it is.
Because it
does, is, sadly. Yeah.
I mean, I said that years ago when and again it was the Lord of the Rings game where it was like it'll take a long time, but like if the games industry doesn't fix its shit, the government will fix its shit for it, and they won't like how the government fixes its shit. What I didn't anticipate when I said that was a few months later Battlefront 2 was going to happen. Like, which just fired the starting gun a lot faster than I was expecting.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It'll get sorted.
But it takes time.
It takes time. Oh, I wouldn't trust any politician to choose between which can opener to use to open a can of beans.
This is true, especially not our politicians. Let's move on, because we don't want to be bringing politics into video games.
Definitely, yeah, that's true. That's true. My apologies.
Because that's bad, apparently, for some reason. Number 5, Ubisoft delays all of its upcoming games, admits Ghost Recon Breakpoint was a disaster. With part 1, Ubisoft admits Ghost Recon Breakpoint has been a disaster. This is from Joshua Rivera over at Kotaku. He writes, during an earnings call on Thursday, Ubisoft gave investors a brutally frank appraisal of Ghost Recon Breakpoint, its latest release, and vowed to implement significant changes to our production processes to fix the game. In a prepared statement you can read online, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot laid out the reasons the publisher believes the open-world special ops shooter didn't sell as well as expected. The new game, released just 2.5 years after Ghost Recon Wildlands, moves the series' action to a fictional island and introduced survival elements and a loot grind that struck many critics, including our own, and me, to be fair, as an unnecessary lightweight imitation of systems in other games, including Ubisoft's own Division series. Guillemot noted that the changes Breakpoint made to the Ghost Recon formula have been strongly rejected by a significant portion of the community. Guillemot also noted the game's negative critical reception. Compounding that, somewhat paradoxically, is that he said Breakpoint wasn't different enough to really stand out. Guillemot cites Breakpoint's underperformance and the Division 2's less severe but still disappointing performance, that's a surprise, as a primary reason for the company's just announced delays of some of its most high-profile upcoming games. We'll talk about that in a sec. In response to investor concern over live service game fatigue and monetization, Ubisoft asserted that it is not interested in pay-to-win microtransactions and instead will continue to focus on in-game events. As recently as Breakpoint, however, Ubisoft has dabbled with microtransactions that do in fact have gameplay impact. So we'll stop there before we get on other delays. Let's just talk about Breakpoint for a moment.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy this game. I didn't realize. Well, obviously, it's a broken mess and everything. It doesn't work really well. It's very glitchy. Well, it works, should I say, but it's very glitchy and everything. When it comes to like the loot boxes and everything like that, I was just like, okay, they took them out, I believe.
I don't know. I'll just throw my hands up and be like, no idea.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. No worries. It wasn't a good thing or anything like that for them, but if they took them out, like I said, I think they have. Which is a good thing and everything. I love what at the end of the day, I rather them just come out and say, yeah, all right, this was just a bad day at the office for us. We should have probably delayed this a year to give it more chance and everything like that, like what they've done over a couple more of their games and everything like that, which we'll get onto. But it's disappointing because Ubisoft have had overall, I would say, a good generation this year. Yeah, like it was a big start for them. But then by the end of it, they've had a really good couple of good things. Like Division 1 overall was well received, did very well. Then obviously the Origins, Odyssey, Wildlands overall did well, I believe. Siege has done nothing but gone with strength throughout this generation and everything. But they've also had a couple of like little games like this one has sadly fallen by the wayside and everything. I like the honesty. I do. I like the honesty. I might be pessimistic to that. A lot of people always say, "Oh, you're being too kind and everything like that." That's fair, but I rather than be honest and hold up the hands and say,
"Yeah, it fucked it.
We goofed. Yeah. We goofed, and everything. We apologize and everything."
I mean, if there's one publisher that has, if there's one publisher that this generation has sort of figured out, like their thing this generation has almost been to like take big messes and fix them, like For Honor, like Rainbow Six Siege, like Ghost Recon, Wildlands, like the First Division. Like they come out and they're not that great, but then they work at them over time, and then they find a fan base and they fix them, then they fix the issues, and then they start expanding on them. So they could probably do that with Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Maybe they'd have to change a lot of that game. My problem with Ghost Recon Breakpoint, because I didn't actually have that many bugs when I played it. My problem with Ghost Recon Breakpoint was it took a bunch of stuff from a bunch of other Ubisoft games that it didn't need to take, and it just kind of put them in, and then there wasn't really any need for them. Like the gear system, like this isn't the Division. It's not a tactical shooter. I mean, it's not an RPG shooter. It's a tactical shooter, right? Like if I shoot someone in the head, it doesn't matter what I shoot them with; they're gonna die. Unless they're wearing a helmet, and I just shoot them again. But like, it didn't need like all these guns with
first DPS. Time, shoot again.
Didn't need all these guns with DPS and stuff in them, and it's just like,
yeah,
I'm supposed to run around and collect all these things like as a big part of the game, but it's like no, because I don't need to. But yeah, it's cool that they just went, yeah, we fucked it a bit.
That's true.
It happens.
It's actually, I like the honesty, man. I really do. I mean, it just works for me all the time and everything, so it's really good for me.
True. And yeah, there was a knock-on effect, which we hinted at in the previous one. Part 2, Ubisoft delays multiple titles, including Watch Dogs Legion. This is from Jay Peters over at The Verge, who writes, Ubisoft announced that it's delaying Gods and Monsters, Rainbow Six Quarantine, and Watch Dogs Legion into its fiscal 2020 and 2021 year. That means that these games could all be released sometime between April 2020 and March 2021, so we'll be waiting a bit longer for them. And then, yeah, Gods and Monsters is a cartoony action-adventure game set in Greek mythology by the makers of Assassin's Creed Odyssey, had been set to release on February 25th, 2020. Watch Dogs Legion, the next game in the Watch Dogs series, which lets you take control of almost any NPC in the game, had originally been scheduled for March 6, 2020. We didn't know of a release date for Rainbow Six Quarantine, a tactical co-op shooter, beyond sometime in 2020. In a statement, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot said that the delay was to give the teams more development time to ensure that their respective innovations are perfectly implemented to deliver optimal experiences for players. This is weird. Like,
it's kind of like they've learnt the same lesson again with the rest of their games. Like they learnt the lesson with Assassin's Creed. They realized if we delay it, give our developer more time, we can get a good game out, which they did on two occasions for it. And now it's like, okay, I think the breaking points basically forced their hand at the same time. I feel like it was a knock-on effect to say, okay, this game is glitchy, this game is very mixed for people, and it hasn't sold very well. Okay, that's not our motto or anything like that. We want to go out for a good game. We want to have it with good mechanics, working well, and everything, and we making some money. That's all about it. They want to make some money. There's no doubt about it. I agree with it and everything, but like they had to. It's weird that they took so long for like Watch Dogs, because like Watch Dogs 1 was a bit of a mess, I believe, when it went out. So
It was kind of average. I remember. That seemed to be the general consensus when it came out.
Fun fact, before I'm going off on here, but
it's fine.
My teacher, Martin, used to worked with Ubisoft and worked on Watch Dogs 1.
Oh, good. So he please don't
He
tell
knew,
him.
they all knew the game was a mess.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, they were telling them, and they couldn't do anything about it. They wouldn't do anything about it. They couldn't do anything about it, they said.
All right. Of course not. Like, what could they possibly do about that?
Yeah. I think that's funny. When I was just like, oh, I didn't know that, Martin. I knew you worked with Ubisoft. I didn't know it was Watch Dogs, but that's a different thing. The Gods and Monsters one, I was not surprised because we had not seen anything of that at all. I was saying to like a friend of mine, saying the only thing I think of is that they're going to wait either for the Xbox thing, which I actually don't think that's going to be shown anything, or they were waiting for the Game Awards in December.
Maybe.
But with them they only showed even just a trailer when they showed it.
I was incredibly surprised because I remember when they did the E3 reveal with Gods and Monsters, and they were like, it's by the same team that made Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and it's coming out in February. And I was like, Assassin's Creed Odyssey just came out. Like, you're going to turn around this game in a year and a half? Like, No, that's not happening. Like, it was one of those things where it's like when The Last of Us Part 2, when they were like, it's coming out in February. I was like, it's not.
Mm-hmm. It's not.
Like, Gods and Monsters, it's coming out. It's not coming out in February.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, the Last of Us one I did actually think was going to happen, but
they always delay that game.
They need time. I don't mind with that. If we get from a great game to a masterpiece, it makes us cry at the end, like a Pixar movie.
I'm going to cry.
Yeah, so
I might cry at the end of Gods and Monsters, but yeah.
When it comes to like Legion, I think it's not surprising. I think even though it looked great and was like, wow, why this is such a surprise. Well, what they're doing with this franchise and everything, but it did look a bit iffy for me when I saw it. So I was like, yeah, I think they're going to delay that.
I wouldn't be surprised if the game itself is quite polished, but they probably want to take a lot of time to make sure the NPC, like, because you could play as any character in the game, you really need to take time to make sure that's working properly, and that is very complicated. Or at least
so I can see Watch Dogs Legion. I'm intrigued because Watch Dogs Legion didn't give a new release date for that one, did they?
They didn't give a new release date for any of them, so it's going to come out. All three of these games were supposed to come out apparently in the first 3 months of next year.
Yeah.
And they've all been knocked back because that's the financial year. Ubisoft's financial year ends on March 31st. So they've all been knocked back to the next one. So it's between April of 2020 and March 2021 is when they've all been knocked back to. And then Skull and Bones is supposed to be after that.
I know that was pushed back, and obviously we believe, should I say, that there is a new Assassin's Creed coming. So
is that
okay? That's the thing we believe.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, so you've now got Watch Dogs Legion coming out. Is it going to come out at the end of the next year, like 2020, or have they pushed it a full year?
Are they putting this in the slot where the Assassin's Creed game is possibly going to go next year, and they're going to push Assassin's Creed to
the next year,
2021?
Because it stands to reason that you've got to remember as well is there's consoles are coming out next year, probably in November. So like you're looking at like whatever Ubisoft puts back to like the end of 2020 are probably going to be like launch titles for the PS5 and the Xbox Scarlet.
Yeah.
Do you launch with Watch Dogs? Do you launch with Assassin's Creed? Do you launch with both?
Like, what was it? Last year's the final 4 months were like stacked with games, and this last 4 months have seemed like it's been a bit more spread out than last year.
Yeah, there was a bit of a rush early,
like
smaller
Doom
games
got pushed. Doom
but then it's like
like
Doom's not coming out, and now what else got? Like, The Last of Us didn't get pushed back, but like there's like a few games that have been pushed back. Like beyond like the end of this year, so it's like everything else has a bit more breathing room now. Gives me time to play the Outer Worlds, like to completion. But
what's fall 2020 going to look like?
Fall 2020 is going to like what the first like 6 months of next year, man. Like I've got like Final Fantasy, Doom.
And then you're going into the fall,
and then you got the fall.
First 3-4 months of the year. Or 5 months, really.
It's like you got like the first 6 months have got like Cyberpunk, Final Fantasy, Animal Crossing, Last of Us.
Yeah, before E3 and everything.
Yeah, so and before E3, we're already like, just need a minute. I just need a minute.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that it's better than this year's first 6 months, because like we had like 1 week did we have like 5 games at once?
Oh God!
And they were all not that good.
And then I remember that
Crackdown, Anthem,
Jump Force, which is not my thing. Fair enough.
We've had a Far Cry this year, haven't we?
Yeah, we had a Far Cry New Dawn, which was on the same day as well.
Yeah.
And then because the week before Apex Legends came out of nowhere, and it turns out that was the better of all of the games.
Yeah.
Like people liked Metro Exodus and I didn't, which is fair enough. But like, Crackdown 3 and Anthem, it's harder to make a case that those were good games.
But like I said, they all came out the same time, so it's like it just shows that Anthem's a bad game, but it was marketed well.
Yeah, it was.
Can't take it anywhere. Like when no one talks about Jump Force, that game sucked either way. And Crackdown, no one talks about that game.
I'll constantly forget that Crackdown even came out.
I think Microsoft did as well. So
I've got a list, and I keep looking at the list, and I'll be like, "Oh, there's Crackdown 3. Shit, that did come out." Like it was like last year when I was doing my Game of the Year lists, like videos and stuff, and I was like, "Wait, Metal Gear Survive was in 2018? What?"
Like I just remember that there was a Far Cry game this year.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it is, man.
Far Cry New Dawn. I remember I played it.
Yeah. So Gods and Monsters delayed, Rainbow Six Quarantine delayed, Watch Dogs Legion was delayed. So...
There could have been other delays, like of games that weren't announced, like internal delays as well. So,
like this E3 for them, I thought was one of their worst ones. I thought it was boring.
Yeah, it was Tom Clancy's E3 presentation. He did Watch Dogs, and then everything else was Tom Clancy.
Yeah, when Watch Dogs was the best thing. Watch Dogs was the best thing they showed for me, and like, I was like, wait, so that's all you're going to show us of Breakpoint, which was absolutely nothing. You just showed us the actor. He's a very fine-looking man. There's no doubt about it. But you're just like, if that's all, and the dog and his dog. Let's not forget his dog. Yeah. He stole the show, obviously. Obviously. But then you're like, huh. And now you're just showing us a little colourful trailer for Gods and Monsters. So
Gods and Monsters was like, oh, I'm actually intrigued by this.
I had no interest whatsoever.
And then like the middle, like 80% of the show is just like Tom Clancy. It was like they got Mr. Caffeine back. Tom Clancy.
Yeah. I'm not surprised, but like I said, I think it's just like they've learned their lesson for a second time, saying we gotta give our developers a little bit more time.
Yeah, I mean, if everything is coming out towards the end of next year, though, their E3 should be pretty lit.
Bloody hope so.
Next year.
Start with Watch Dogs again and end with Thor in Assassin's Creed.
Assassin's Creed, yeah.
Ragnarok, yeah.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, that now.
But like, forget all that, Moody. there are games out this week, including Disney classic games Aladdin and The Lion King, coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch on October 29th. Also on October 29th, we got After Party coming PC, PS4, and Xbox One. Yakuza 4 Remastered is coming to PS4. Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz HD is coming to PC, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And Atelier Ryza Ever Darkness and the Secret Hideout is coming to PC, PS4, and Switch on October 31st, also known as Halloween. We've got Luigi's Mansion 3 for Switch, The Wanderer, Frankenstein's Creature for PC, and Journey for Elysium on Rift and Vive. VR game. Those are still a thing.
Nice.
So I got one little game I wanted to start doing this week. You're my test subject for this little game I want to do at the end of every podcast. Let's guess the OpenCritic scores. So the OpenCritic average scores. So I got 3 games on here. We'll start with the big one, the review embargo that gets lifted on November 1st. Death Stranding. You guess the OpenCritic average. What is going to be the average review score of that game?
94%.
Oh, going high.
Very high. It's Kojima, and like they've had. I think because they've had this for a while. They've had this for about 2 weeks now, I believe. And the review embargo drops a week before the game comes out.
Yeah.
That for me says they are incredibly incredibly excited for this game, and same goes for Sony. There's like, we gotta get this game. We believe this is so good. You're gonna love it, and the reviews are gonna hopefully show that when it comes out on the 1st of May. This is November. So that's how it is for me. So I'm going. I said 94, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So 94.
I'm gonna go with 88 because there's gonna be 1 or 2 outliers. I think loads of review sites are going to be like 10 out of 10, like 9.5, whatever. I think there's going to be a couple who are like 6, 7, like you know what I mean. Like they're gonna go a lot, and I think it's just going to pull it down. So I'm going to go with 88.
That's fair.
Luigi's Mansion 3. What do you think the OpenCritic score average is going to be for that game?
85.
85.
It's a fun game. I think it's good. It looks like it's a fun game. It's got a good loyal fan base. Nintendo games, 9 times out of 10 when they come out, they are at least working.
This is true.
and they're colourful and enjoyable.
That's fine.
I think 85.
I've got 81. I've got written down in my notes, by the way. I'm not just piggybacking off of whatever you say. And the last one is Promise. Fingers crossed. Promise. And the last one is After Party, which is the follow-up game from the guys who made Oxenfree.
I haven't seen anything of this game, so I don't know if it's fair for me to comment.
Just pick a number. It's fine. You might be right. You never know.
70.
Fair enough. I'm going to go with 86 on that one. I think I loved Oxenfree, so I'm biased. I just want to
say I hope it's higher because, like, say, like I haven't seen anything with this game, so it's unfair for me to say. But yeah, I hope it's higher.
I'm just glad you went low because I realized that on the first two I went lower than you, so I don't want to come off like being like too cynical. But we'll find out next week when I do the podcast who was right and who was wrong, or who was closest at the very least. That's going to do it for episode 180 of the Words About Gamescast. Thanks so much for like answering the call and being here, Mr. Moody. Yeah, that's. It's always a pleasure to have you around.
Thank you very much for inviting me on, man. It's like I always have fun talking about video games, even though I do a podcast. I always like video games. I am trying to become a developer, so I need to learn about a little of them.
Hey, you're welcome on this podcast anytime you want.
Thank you very much.
If you just want to message me and just be like, "Have you got a spot open this week?" And I might just.
I just want to see if I'll do that just to see if I'll come back in right at the end and say, so was I right about Death Stranding and After Party?
You said Death Stranding was going to be low, did you? Alright, that is going to do it. Thank you very much, everybody, for watching. I'll see you all next week. Bye.
Peace out.
Stay glorious.
glorious.